It's another Sunday, and you know what that means. It's a faction focused Sunday. But first, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lennon. How you guys doing? And welcome back to our 2025 faction focus for Rome 2. So, with that being said, let's get into it. And as highly requested, today we are taking a look at our biggest, baddest wolf in the game, which is Rome. Of course, it's Rome. Rome has like pretty much everything you basically need in your entire campaign. They have very good passives like from the get-go, plus 15% movement range for all armies, plus 2 recruitment slots in all your provinces, so basically you can pump out armies like it's nobody's business. Plus 15% melee attack during battles against barbarians, which is basically the entire like northwestern part of the map. That's wild. And a casual plus 6 to cultural conversion for making everything more easy enough. Although there is, those is just the House of Julia. I'm sorry. You also have the House of Junia, which gives you plus 6 of presence of Latin culture, which is pretty okay, and a plus 30% wealth from agricultural building. So this is more like the economic powerhouse of the three. And the House of Cornelia is all will serve minus 50% upkeep cost for all auxiliary units. And that can be a pretty interesting thing. I know I don't think it's still possible, but like a couple years ago, the Spiffing Brit did a video especially on this, where he could have units that basically were no upkeep due to this and stacking it with other things. I don't know if that's still possible, but it is still fun to try. And that's of course pretty handy as well for rapid expansion. But I feel like this guy is the way to go for quick expansion due to your cultural conversion and your melee attack against all barbarians. So let me get to the map and I'll see you guys in a second. And here we are as the Romans on the map. And Rome, as you know, is pretty strong, but they have some struggles in the early game as well. The most struggles is basically which way do you want to go. So Rome is pretty powerful in the start of the game. You get you start out with like 2 provinces, although both are not entirely in your dominion, like in your control. That's probably the better way to say it. You start at war with the Etruscan League, which have 3 settlements, including Alalia, little island over here. And that is your only war so far. And you start out with I you don't even start out with I thought Syracuse was your ally, but they just have a trade agreement with you, and not even a non-aggression, so that is not that bad. So you only start 1 war, and you have a couple of friendly faces, really not so friendly. This is different than I remember from a few years ago. You have some angry faces, Carthage and Epirus, which both pretty much threaten you from the get-go over here. Although, especially on the lower difficulties, they will not declare war that quickly, but on higher difficulties, they can and will be pretty aggressive. So be mindful of that in the back of your mind. So you start out with like 2 armies, which one down here, which I always feel like this is a little bit weird placement for a starting army. Since Syracuse is not a threat, you probably will not take on Carthage in your first 3-4 turns. So this army is a little bit weird in its placement, because either you go set it to Cassentia to stay over here, or you take it to Brundisium to defend against any possible threats from Epirus. The other army is pretty much a lot more logical. This is your big starting army, and in the first turn you are able to get towards the settlement for the Etruscan Leagues. Either get this army and then the city, or get the city straight away. That means you can, in like 2 or 3 turns, can get this entire province under control, which is not too much of a hassle. The only thing that might pose a little challenge is your little fleet over here, then trying to take Alalia while there is a garrison army here. Since these two settlements are pretty quickly gone, the Etruscans will build an army over here. So in my experience, it's probably better to wait 1 or 2 turns over here before taking Arminium and try to take Alalia as quickly as possible, so that you don't give them a base of operations later on. And over here for this league, basically you can do what you want. Like either you can skip over here towards take out Epirus and maybe take out the Greeks while you're at it very quickly, because this is good land and pretty safe as well. Or you could go towards Carthage. One of the challenges with Rome faces in expansion early way is you have a lot of ways to go and enemies basically on all sides if you want them. So over here, of course, you're gonna get the barbarians, which will probably never like you. Over here you have Carthage, which is basically your mortal enemy through history. And over here you have the Greeks and Epirus, which they don't really like you as well. So they will not straight out attack you and declare war in the first few turns. But you're always gonna have to be mindful, or wherever you're expanding, wherever your forces are, that there is a constant threat looming over your territory. Although these threats can be quickly disposed of if you start to take a look at their military. Because, like I said, we have extra recruitment slots. So basically we can recruit like 2, 4, 6, 7 units at a turn. Which, if you have the economy for it, is basically insane. Within like 3 turns, you can pump out a 20 stack if you need it. And even these shitty Hastati are pretty well damn strong for like the first tier units that they are. The only thing you're missing basically is good archers, because you only have like the javelins, although they can deal some very hefty damage as well. So if we start to take a look at their military, we have one building that splits into 2 lines, which is the professional barracks side of things, which at tier 2 gives you Prink Pace, which is a pretty decent step up from the Hastatis, and a Triaria is basically the best spear unit you're going to get early on in the game. Also alongside some Equites, pretty decent Cav unit is pretty quickly to die as well, due to all the levy freemen that you're gonna face with precursor javelins and that shit, so be careful. Once you get to tier 3, you get the Praetorians, which are just, look at these guys, they're fucking beef. 65 melee attack, 85 armor, 55 melee defense. There's not much that's gonna go through here. These guys can stand their ground for like ages. And then alongside the first cohort is pretty good. They have the Encourage ability, which provide morale boosts to nearby allies. So what you basically should do is get like 2 Praetorians, 1 first cohort, 2 Praetorians, and then the first cohort will give a morale boost to all those units in its vicinity. So these guys are really good. Not as strong, but really good to have in your army as like a whole pack of them. And later on, you get the Praetorian Cav, which is also like very decent. Also have the Encourage ability. And the Armored Legionaries, which are basically tanks as well. So in the Roman campaign, and like in the campaign, you get a I don't know what's called, an event, the Roman Reforms. I don't know exactly which turn it is, because haven't played Rome in a long time. But at that point, all these units start to shift and they take on different names. Like you have the first cohort, Legionaries. I believe the Hastati turns into Legionaries. And then you have the cohort Legionaries, Armored Legionaries, and like there's a few different variations of them. So they get a little bit stronger, get different names and all that, and they look a little bit different, which is really fucking cool if you ask me. But that's their like professional military. If you take a look at the auxiliary camps, and the fun part of the auxiliary camp is you get to recruit local units. So over here is like the Sakie Hastati and some auxiliary infantry. You get some Sakie Extraordinary, pretty decent infantry units. Get some extra cav units, which are pretty decent as well. But if you, let's say, take a look at Carthage and build auxiliary buildings over here, you maybe even get to build elephant units. Over here you get to have like the war dogs and all that stuff. And over here you can get like the auxiliary eastern archers. I don't know if you can get cataphracts, but there's a lot of different local auxiliary units you can get your hands on by building the auxiliary camps, which is a very interesting playstyle that you don't see a lot with the other factions, to be able to build units from different cultures. So I think that is pretty much everything. Like, I don't know, Rome has one of the cool things that has some military wharfs. So you have like ballista ships, which is pretty goddamn awesome. I've used these ballista ships and like to great odds. You can see the shorts on my channel, like I have a lot of them. It's fun to use these ships. It's really fun to use these ships. And they're really pretty damn powerful as well. Like with this, maybe 5 or 10 ships from these guys, you can basically attack any 20 stack either with assault ships or transports, and you'll completely annihilate them. So very good in crowd control here in the close by seas as well. So challenge wise, Rome has an easy starting challenge, but I think one problem with Rome is because it's easy in the start, you tend to expand really fast, which brings challenges to your own, to your empire, and starts more at maintaining your empire in the later game with the politics, because these guys don't like you, and it's a struggle to get everyone to like you. So you're probably gonna have 1 or 2 secessions, and that can really mess you up once you start like carving out pieces of your empire to secessionists. So overall, I would definitely give Rome like a 9 out of 10 for playability. It's fun, it's diverse, it's fun to start steamrolling empires at some point. So yeah, I would definitely have this being played by a little bit more of a beginner player than maybe an intermediate player. But also, if this is Total War Challenge, it can get pretty hectic, because you have like what I said, you have enemies over here that you are straight at war with. It's like all short distances as well over the water, so it can get pretty intense to defend all your settlements in this Total War Challenge. So all in all, I would say a very good, solid faction, fun gameplay, very interesting challenges that you can do over here with these factions around you. So with that being said, I think that's all I have to mention about playing as Rome in Rome 2. If I did forget something, please let me know in the comments down below, and also do let me know if you have any tips or tricks or other factions that you want to see make this list. So with that being said, I'm just gonna say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the love and support on the last few episodes, and by all means, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.